Welcome back to 360 Sports, where today we're talking all things hockey. I'm your host, Gwen, and today I'm joined by Emily, Ethan, and Dagan. To get things started, we're going to go over a couple headlines. First, Devils defender Brendan Dillon became the 409th player in NHL history to suit up for 1,000 games in the Devils' 5-3 loss to the Blue Jackets. How much longer will he play, and who else will join him in the 1,000-game club?
I just want to start off by saying how impressive that is to, first of all, make it to 1,000 games. And this is a guy that, I would like to think he could make it to his late 30s. And I think everybody wants him to. He's an incredible player. Obviously, going out with an injury sucks for that. And who knows what that'll do to him. But, he's definitely got a few more years, in his career left. We want that to be as long as it can for him.
Yeah, he's only 35, so I definitely think injury preventing, obviously we saw him go out in last night's game with an injury, but if it turns out to not be too severe and then just in future years not having injuries, I think he has a few more years left in him, especially until at least his late 30s, maybe early 40s, depending on how his career goes. But I just want to point out that he was an undrafted free agent coming into the NHL, and to reach your 1,000th game being an undrafted free agent just isn't really heard of all that often, and that really is a big accomplishment for him. I'm clearly a Devils fan, so I was happy about this, but unfortunately, like you said, he did leave the ice early and the Devils lost. So maybe not the best 1,000th game for him, but I think he has some years left.
Yeah, I agree. I think as long as he doesn't struggle with injuries, which obviously he kind of did the other night, but as long as he doesn't struggle with injuries, I think he could make it a little bit further. I think maybe not to 40. I think that's kind of the end point for most guys, but maybe 38, 37. And then actually I was looking into how many other guys are close to playing 1,000 games, and actually Roman Josi is about to hit 1,000. He just came back from injury, so that's really good too. And then Nito Niederreiter from Winnipeg, he's also I think 6 games away.
And Mika Zibanejad, he's a little bit farther away, but he is in the second half of 900s, close to 1,000.
Yeah, I just think it's so hard to predict who might be able to, especially with the kind of value that people are placing on, especially head injuries like the one he got. It's just so hard to predict what players will be able to do.
And injuries are so come and go. A player could be doing amazing for 5 years and play every single game, and then all it takes is one freak accident for them to be out for their entire career. So injury preventing, I think he has a few more years.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, they used to just say, get back out on the ice, but now they can make you start. So it's obviously a different situation. So and moving on, Colorado has been far and away the best team in the NHL this season, leading the team in points. Can they keep up the dominance, or will a team like Dallas or Tampa Bay catch up?
Even if they slow down, they're at one regulation loss. That is almost unheard of for this late in a season. It's absolutely crazy to think that they're doing that, the dominance that they have. Even if they slow down, which obviously they might, they're probably going to. You can't keep that up all season. It just that they already have such a head over all the other guys or all the other teams. It's just hard to say someone will catch up to them. I don't see them finishing now the 1 seed in the Western Conference. I do want to point out, though, because I was looking into other teams that have had very good regular seasons, 2022-23 Bruins. We're going into basketball, 15-16 Warriors, 07 Patriots. All some of the best regular seasons in history, didn't win. None of this matters until you make the playoffs. So
President's Trophy curse, as they call it.
It's real.
Yeah, it really is. I think they can keep this momentum. In hockey specifically, momentum is such a big thing because there's so many games and they're playing them all back to back. You can get into a rut of losing, or you could get into a rut of winning. And it's incredibly hard to only have one regular loss in the season so far. I think they have 6 overtime losses, but that's 6 points that they're getting on other teams who maybe just have 6 regular losses. The last time a team has had one regular loss this late in the season, I think was back in 2013 when the Chicago Blackhawks did. That is a long time, because this is a very hard thing to do. And I've talked about this before, but Gabriel Landeskog being back is such a big part of this. He is an amazing captain for them, and him being out those years was the Avs were still doing great, but the team is clearly different when he's in the locker room leading them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Avs are a great team. Honestly, I hope they keep up the dominance because I want them to be a victim of the President's Trophy curse. And I hope Tampa doesn't pass them because I don't want them to be a victim again. They've already been one. So, but I think the only thing that could pose maybe a little bit of an issue for the Avs is Wedgwood's been really, really good, but he has never been a starting goaltender. He's been a backup his entire career. And can you really depend on a guy who's never really had that starting role? Like at the end of the season, is he going to drop off?
Right.
Is he going to keep putting up those numbers?
Yeah, playoffs are a completely different beast, especially for goalies. So having somebody who is not as experienced, not as maybe fit to be a starting goaltender can be a lot of pressure. I do want to say, though, I think somebody who can give them a run for their money is the Canes. The Canes are actually tied right now with Tampa Bay, and the Canes are sneaky. They're just like, oh, they're a good team. The last time they missed the playoffs was in 2018, which is a very long time. They haven't made it to the finals in a long time. So there's that. But if anybody's going to give them a run for their money, I think it's going to be the Canes because they can always find a way to fight back.
Yeah. So we don't think that Dallas or Tampa Bay is going to catch them?
I don't know I think Dallas will sit behind them all season. Dallas is already a game ahead of them and they're still behind. So I think Dallas is going to be a good team all season, but I don't think that they're going to take the lead over the Avs.
I mean, like I said this, even if they slow down, their slowing down is just going to be getting a normal amount of losses for a top team in the league. And they're already so far ahead. I don't really see it happening.
I think Dallas could catch them. They're only 4 points behind them right now. And Tampa definitely won't. Tampa is basically, I don't know how they're good. They're playing with like an AHL roster. We have guys on defense that are playing their first NHL games very often. It's kind of a miracle that the Lightning are any good. So I seriously doubt they will catch them. But Dallas, I wouldn't count that out.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I definitely agree. I think Colorado's been very good, but like we all mentioned, playoffs, different situation. We'll have to see how they do. I don't see them missing. They're not going to miss the playoffs.
No.
That would be a miracle in itself.
Yeah, that'd be collapse of the century.
Yeah.
But another thing that's happening in the next year is the 2026 Winter Olympics. And the stadium has not been completed, and they don't have a plan B for the stadium. What do we think is going to happen with this?
This is just silly. Like, how are you not on time with something like this? First of all, like, I don't know, whoever's in charge of this needs some type of, I don't know what they're going on right now. I think it's going to get finished. They've other stadiums for the Olympics have been rushed before and completed. That's probably what's going to happen. It's just going to be like a little, like, I don't want to say not quality tested, but it's going to be a rush stadium. I think that's how this is going to end. But it'll go on time. Players will all be good to play there.
Yeah, I think it's going to be finished, but it might not be the best thing that we've ever seen, or it may not be the exact plans they've been hoping for. But there's just no, in what world would it not be finished? Like, I feel like you're never hosting the Olympics again if that happens. Like, you're like on the blacklist for the Olympics if you don't finish the stadium. But I did see the games are supposed to start February 5th with the women's preliminary round, and they're usually supposed to test the arena or the rink or whatever facility that they're playing in before the Olympics happen. And because of the rushed construction right now, that's not going to happen. So hopefully it's fine. I mean, how can it go wrong other than it not being finished? But
you mentioned them potentially being on the blacklist if it didn't get finished. Do you not think they're already?
This is just embarrassing. Like,
they've known for years too.
Right?
Like, this isn't like you're
time.
hosting the Olympics.
Yeah, I also saw that the arena is set to be 3 to 4 feet smaller than NHL standard ice, which is pretty interesting also. But I also think Bettman clearly does not have an issue with anyone not going to the Olympics. I mean, in the past, he's said they're going to and pulled out at the last minute. So I honestly would not put it past Bettman to pull out
Yeah.
the players and ruin their dreams of playing
Yeah.
for their country.
I will say, I saw on a podcast, I think it was Matthew Tkachuk said he'd go out there and start building it himself if it comes to it. I mean, but I feel like those are those USA and Canada hockey players. Like, they want to play in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Like, that's all of their dreams
Absolutely.
with their kids. Like,
Right.
playing in the Olympics for their home team. And especially Matthew's going to get to do it with his brother Brady. So, like, that's another special thing. So, I think the guys want it. So, if it's not finished, they might be a little upset about that.
I think they're going to finish it. I mean, there have been issues in recent, like, think
Yeah.
the 2024 Olympics. They didn't know if they were going to be able to use the Seine for
Right.
long distance swimming. They ended up just using it, or like in Rio with the triathlon.
Yeah.
They found some questionable stuff in the ocean. They still just used it.
Yeah.
I think they'll end up using it. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
I think if anything, it's going to be more of an issue for the spectators. I don't think that they're going to make it an issue for the players. There might be some dicey seating, but other than that, I think they're going to get it done. It would be ridiculous if they didn't.
Right.
Moving on to women's hockey now for the PWHL season preview, which the PWHL just got underway a few weeks ago and continues tonight with Minnesota taking on Ottawa. Can the Frost repeat as champions, or will another team take their place atop the league?
I mean, I think that if any team has what it takes to repeat like this, it is the Frost. They have so many players coming back. It's, again, a small league. Like, they have some of the only championship experience in this league. It's hard to say another team will rise up. However, you never know what could happen in a league like this. We almost saw Ottawa beat them last year. Who says that they don't have a chip on their shoulder this season? It's going to be an exciting season. I really don't think there's any favorite, although, like I said, the Frost do have what it takes. Wouldn't be surprised if they do repeat.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the only thing I would say, remember is that this is such a small league. So, especially at the beginning of the season, it's kind of anybody's season because you don't really have that many teams that are playing. How many teams are there now? 6? 8?
I think it's
8 with the 2 added ones. And I did see Seattle and Vancouver seem to struggle a little bit to start their season. But I mean, one of them's only played 1 game, and I think the other one played like 2, right? Something like that.
They've played 2 and 3 now.
Okay, so they're still getting started. They're still getting their feet wet, getting their feet under them. Like, it's a completely new team. Some of these girls haven't played together before. The coaches haven't coached together before. So it's just kind of finding your identity, finding how you guys play together. So, like, that's normal for them to struggle. The original teams, I think it is kind of anybody's game, especially at the beginning. The end of the season is a little different, but.
Yeah, I think the Frost could definitely repeat. If any team could do it, they could. And then Ottawa is also another team that could do it. But I was also looking at the expansion teams, and I know they have some really good, strong players.
Yeah.
So maybe by the end of the season, if they can mesh together, figure out how to play together, like, it could easily be one of them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I went to the Seattle Torrent and Frost game, and what I have to say is that the Frost just looked like so much better of a team. Seattle has Hillary Knight, who you'd think would be able to convert, but her teammates just cannot keep up with her. So I don't think that either Vancouver or Seattle are going to be able to pull it off this year. It's hard to do that as a new team, an expansion team.
Right. And we saw that with the Mammoth too in the NHL. Even though they weren't a completely new team, they struggled a bit their first year. It's just a new identity you have to play under.
Absolutely. I mean, this year I do think that Victory, the Montreal team, has maybe one of their last shots to really convert with the players that they have. They've had good shots in the past years. They've been favorites. They were favorites last year. And this is one of their last years to really kind of convert on that before players start to leave, look for other teams. And the other thing about this year is that it's an Olympics year, which means that I believe that this is the first year that the PWHL and the Olympics have been going on at the same time, which means that the Olympics will happen and women's hockey will happen. And that means that a lot more eyes are likely going to be on the PWHL this year. So that should be exciting for the league. But moving on to our board segment, the GOAT enforcer. One of the most fun types of players to watch in the NHL is the enforcer. While they are not the most skilled at hockey, they make up for it in the physicality that they bring to the ice. Let's all go to the board and give our pick for the best enforcer of all time. Emily, start us off.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite things to talk about. I love a good hockey fight. So my best enforcer of all time is going to have to be Scott Stevens from the New Jersey Devils. He was the captain every year that the Devils won a Stanley Cup, 1995, 2000, and 2003. And he was one of the key pieces for why the Devils were so successful these years and the years in between. And that was because of his physicality. He was the enforcer of his time. He was known for fighting. He was known for that physicality, and he was known for racking up the penalty minutes. And this was especially seen when the Devils played the Flyers, a very famous rivalry, the Battle of the Turnpike. Stevens took it out on the Flyers players on the ice, especially Rick Tocchet, who many of us know now as the current Flyers head coach. Stevens ended his career with 2,785 penalty minutes, which is just insane. He was just the player for the Devils. Unfortunately, in 2004, his career came to an end because of post-concussion syndrome, which is obviously evident as his fights in the league. But that is not where his legacy ended, because in 2007, he was inducted into the Hall of Fame, and the Devils eventually retired his number, which in my opinion makes him the best enforcer of all time.
Yeah, totally. We were talking a little bit about the fights that we were watching just to prepare for this board segment. Did you have any favorites that you watched?
Honestly, anything with him. It was brutal back then. Like, that would not fly in the league now. Like, you would be suspended for like months at a time. All of his fights with any of the Flyers players, that's one of my favorite rivalries. And it was intense in the 90s and the early 2000s. So I want to bring that back, please. Like, they're still rivals, but I want to see it as heated as it got then.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That was always fun to watch, one of those matchups. And
Yeah.
this is one of the reasons why.
Yeah. I miss some old school hockey
Oh my
fights.
Oh my
goodness.
gosh, yes. Bring it back. All right, yeah, you can go for it.
All right. So, my pick for the GOAT enforcer, it's hard to not put a guy who's pretty much known as the guy who defended Wayne Gretzky, Marty McSorley, on here. All of us were talking about how much we were watching fights earlier. Some of these fights were insane that he was in. They just lasted so long. He got it's crazy to watch the endurance of this guy, how he just keeps throwing haymakers back and forth against everybody he went up against. And again, like we just talked about, much more physical. It's so much fun to watch him. And it's hard to argue with 2 Stanley Cups with this guy as well. Talking about Wayne Gretzky, he himself said that he wouldn't have been as good if it wasn't for McSorley there to defend him for everything he did. So it's hard to argue that this man shouldn't be in the GOAT conversation. Now, there's a little bit of controversy with him with the incident, but if you look at it as a fully fighting way, that kind of adds to the intensity he brings. Again, yes, that was horrible. He got what he deserved for doing that, but he brings intensity to the ice. It's so fun to watch him whenever he fights anybody. Again, I was watching highlights for at least half an hour earlier. It's so much fun.
There's always going to be a little bit of controversy when it comes to fights because
Yeah.
that was a dirty hit. I mean, they were a little more lenient on it back in the 90s and just in general. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? It's going to happen. If you want to fight, somebody's going to get hurt, unfortunately.
Oh, absolutely.
Mhm.
It's so hard to execute a fight, especially on ice, for it
Yeah,
to not
Right.
end up potentially hurting someone.
Right.
So,
Mhm.
Yeah.
ding.
Okay. So for my pick, I went with Chris Pronger. He won the Stanley Cup with the Anaheim Ducks in 2006 and was inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in 2015. And he is widely known as one of the best enforcers in the league. But he is also a very skilled player. He won both the Hart and the Norris Trophy. And he was known for his physicality on the ice, which brought him some hefty suspensions. He was suspended 7 times. And he was actually suspended during the Stanley Cup final when Anaheim won the Cup 2 times. So he definitely brings the feistiness that you want an enforcer to bring. But on the other hand, he also brings the skill. And I think that makes him the best enforcer of all time.
Yeah.
I definitely think that makes him stand out because enforcers are known to be like really bad players.
Right.
Like they're
Yeah.
it's usually defensemen and they usually rack up like 20 points in the season. Like
Right.
if they're lucky. Like so to win the Hart and the Norris and just be able to produce offense while also staying on like the defensive side of things is very impressive.
Yeah, watching him play, like I watched back the Anaheim 2006 like final videos. He was crazy. Like the things he did, they would never fly in today's NHL. People think the Panthers are bad. The Panthers are nothing compared to what used to be.
Panthers would die if they went back in time.
Oh,
like,
Kachuk would be
oh my
dropped in
god.
2 seconds.
I will say I was looking just on like a list of who had the most penalty minutes like in all of NHL history, and Tkachuk, their father, is like 8 on that list. Which I mean, are we surprised?
You gotta to end up that way. You gotta be raised by someone who believes it.
What's
Right,
funny is
right.
Marchand actually passed him for the most suspensions in NHL history. Yeah.
They are a little like tougher on suspending players though now. So like I feel like if you compare like if Tkachuk would have been playing like in like today's league, basically he probably would have similar to Marchand, but that is funny.
Yeah. It's just now we know so much more about traumatic brain injuries, so it's a lot easier to allow suspensions, I think. But now it's my turn, and I went a little bit further back in time with Dave Tiger Williams, who leads the NHL in all-time penalty minutes, both regular season penalty minutes and regular season, including the playoffs with somewhere 4,100 in playoffs and regular season. And what makes him really special, in my opinion, is that not only did he have a fairly long career, I think it was 12 years, which is a fairly long NHL career, especially playing that style of play, but he was a smaller guy. He wasn't that like big. So to have that kind of impact on the ice is really impressive, in my opinion. So
I did see that he was the leader, like you said, of all penalty minutes. He has
got a
almost
pretty
4,000.
Yeah. And it's like hours above the next guy, isn't he?
Yes,
Like,
yes.
well, he played for so long.
Yeah.
It's
That's
hard
why,
not
but-
That is a long career. Because I was just like looking at the entire spreadsheet too, and so Scott Stevens is 14th on that list, and he played for 22 years, and he played for 1,500 games. Williams played less than 1,000 games. So the fact that he is number one, that's like
really going
a fight a game. Yeah.
You love a guy that does that. I mean, who doesn't want a guy that just goes
mean,
out
you
and
know-
gets in the penalty box every time he goes out?
He had some long fight highlight videos,
Yeah.
is what I'm gonna say.
And you know his teammates loved him because they were like, I don't have to take care of anything.
I'm really surprised that no one picked Ty Domi. I was fully expecting someone to pick
There
Ty
were a
Domi.
few that I honestly.
There's some really good ones out there.
Well, it's hockey. What do you
Yeah,
expect?
yeah,
But-
that is true. That is true.
I think there's some players that I maybe would have picked if I hadn't been thinking about kind of the fighting over the skill. Like there's some really good enforcers who also, like you mentioned, were pretty good at hockey. I went more of the fighting route.
Yeah.
which is fair.
Yeah.
So moving on to freak injuries, which have been happening a lot more than you'd want to happen in a professional sports league. Multiple NHL players have been out with injury this season due to off-ice injuries, most notably Jack Hughes, who injured his finger while eating at a team dinner. Does the NHL have some sort of curse this season?
I don't know if I want to call it a curse, but like, I want to call it stupidity to a certain degree. Obviously, we don't know all the details of these injuries. How on earth do you injure your finger at a team dinner?
Yeah.
What goes on for that? And all these other stupid random injuries. I understand accidents happen, but it cannot happen this commonly. And it's like, I feel like if it shouldn't keep happening. If this is a curse and it keeps happening, is like the NHL going to come out, make a statement like, guys, you need to like control yourselves off the ice. Like it's just reading about some of these, it's just baffling what's going on.
Yeah. I have a lot to say about Jack Hughes and his injuries, and this is probably the worst of them, just because I think it happened on a piece of broken glass or something like that. I just like, He has yet to play a full season. I just want to say that he's been in the league for 5 or 6 years now, maybe even 7, and he has yet to play a full season, which is just insane. And every year it's because of injuries, and I just think that is crazy to me. And I wouldn't call it a curse, like you said. My favorite term for it is the injury bug. I think it happens every year. It really does. But for some reason this year it's taking an off ice turning point instead of on ice. But I do want to mention one on ice injury, and that is Charlie McAvoy's slap shot to the face. That was a rough one. I know he had to have facial plastic surgery done because of that. And just any injury like that in general is just, it's not good to see for your player on ice or off ice.
Yeah. I was looking into how many of these guys have suffered food-related injuries. It seems like everyone is injuring themselves in like a barbecue incident.
Oh my
I
gosh,
did see a barbecue
that one
one.
made
Yeah,
me
you
laugh
two
out loud when
Loosteriden from
I
the
saw
Panthers.
barbecue mishap. What does that mean? What are you doing?
I don't even know what it means.
Well, like, I just want to know how. Unfortunately, the teams don't give enough information, which
No.
they shouldn't.
Yeah.
But
And then yesterday they said Alexei Torpchenko from the Blues burned himself on his legs cooking.
Oh, I saw that on his leg.
I thought it was like, I saw that at first. I fully thought it was like, oh, maybe it was like a fire or something, but apparently not.
I guess
Just a
not.
freak accident.
Maybe he was like deep frying a turkey, like Thanksgiving.
that
like
is-
I heard that.
Apparently they all just need to stay away from food.
Yeah, Jack Hughes had to have surgery
Yeah.
on his
Yeah.
finger. It was a finger.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah.
That is one of the respectfully the dumbest injuries I've ever heard.
I just think these teams need to be protecting their product better because
Right.
when it comes down to it, they're paying these players
Right.
millions of dollars sometimes. And it's ridiculous to let your players get injured in that way. You need to, like you said, the NHL
Yeah.
might come out and say something, but really what needs to happen is these teams need to control their players. Like there's nothing the NHL can do.
Well,
These
yeah.
coaches and these GMs, they can, and like captains, senior players on the team, they can really control the situation. I just think if this continues happening, especially in Olympics here, this
Oh,
would be
for sure.
tragic. If a player
For sure.
missed the Olympics because of some food-related injury,
For
that
sure.
would be absolutely catastrophic.
Right.
That cannot happen.
Right.
So yeah.
And I also think it's one thing if it happens like once in a season. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
oh, Jack Hughes cuts his finger and then every other player, like nobody else does something like that. Okay, yeah, it's a freak accident, it happens. These are freak accidents, plural. Like, why is this continuing to happen?
again, it just feels like the players. Again, I don't want to just fully blame the players that are getting injured,
Right.
but it's just all of these sound like just pure stupidity almost. Like burn marks on your leg from cooking. That can't happen if you're cooking normally.
It's avoidable.
Yeah.
You need to do something stupid to do that, and it's just like like I said, NHL could say something. Like you said, the teams need to control their players to not do things like this.
But on the injuries, did you guys see Kyle Palmieri tear his ACL and then still make the assist
I
on that
Oh
play?
my gosh,
Yeah.
that
I
was
didn't
so
see that.
impressive.
That was
They're-
the most
they're built
hockey play
different.
I've ever
Yeah.
seen.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. One of my favorite hockey injuries is, okay, a little bit of a tangent, is I think it was 2 years ago in the postseason. I forget who the player was, but somebody they got sliced by a skate and they like went out, got like 70 stitches,
Yes.
came back
Oh.
with
I remember that.
like a guard, and then next period he's playing. Like what?
Absolutely.
Didn't
I
he
mean, it was
score,
the
too?
playoffs, but yes,
Yeah.
yes, he
Like,
did.
That's
I don't know
so
who that was. I'll
impressive.
have to
That's
look it up, but
hockey. That's
yeah.
hockey for you.
This-
But
this-
that is all the time we have today for today's NHL show. Make sure you check out tomorrow's basketball show. And thank you so much for joining me, Gwen Evans, Emily, Ethan, and Dagan.